One last part. I won't talk too long. I didn't want to give you a really long lecture at the beginning. We'll do some practice, so only a little bit more. But I want to highlight this issue. Is of course that we store things, right? We store things, and as much as anything, we store things. Okay, mentally, I know we store things in the memory, or maybe here, whatever. Okay, but we also store things in the body. We store things in the nervous system. In my opinion, it gets caught up in there. It's like a whole. It's like a big hard drive or whatever, for all of the experiences are stuck inside that nervous system. Now in Chinese thought, in alchemical thought, in Chinese medical thought, there's connections between the breath and the nervous system via the Po, and also our memories and our attachments are connected via that part of our soul as well. Now I don't want to go into how, that's a long talk, but they're all kind of under one category. So what it means is, when you use your breath, or you pay attention to your breath, you are also paying attention to or influencing the nervous system. That's essentially what it means. Okay, the two are related. When you are paying attention to or using your breath, you're also accessing or pay attention to those memories, those unconscious or subconscious memories, one or the other. They are all intertwined. It's impossible to separate one from the other. So when we say pay attention to your breath, or okay, let's do it that way around. When we say pay attention to your breath, as in anchor in the breath, what we are also saying, even though it's unsaid, but we're pretty much saying, pay attention to your breath and your nervous system and your memories and your personality and your problems and your stored traumas and your subconscious and your unconscious intention. That is what we're saying. Or that is what is implied by paying attention to the breath. Can you see that, right? Because it's all just one grouping, one collection, right? And the same when we say pay attention to your body. So I often get you to anchor the breath into the shape of the form, right, into the body. And what we're saying is put your attention upon your nervous system and then by association your breath, because they're intertwined, right? And then by the same, under the same conditions, when you put your mind upon the body, we're also paying attention again upon your memories and your traumas and your subconscious and your unconscious intention that's being carried forward. Even when we say put your attention on, what we're also saying is you are going to be bringing with you your subconscious or unconscious intention for a while until they can separate. Yeah, so it's it's a complicated thing. Can you see the complexity in it? Like so many different parts are all involved just for putting the mind inside the body, just for putting the mind inside the body, or just to put the mind on the breath. So if we were, excuse me for using maybe an insulting word, but I can't think of a better one. So hopefully not upsetting. If we were okay, sometimes people don't like when you say something. If we were okay, just as a person, if I am okay, and I put my attention on the breath or in the body, then actually the process will unfold amazingly. It will go. But if I'm not okay, and I put my mind into the body, then there is a chance that, or a high chance that, some of these issues will arise to varying degrees. Okay, some people will tighten. Okay, some people will get tired. Some people will find discomfort, bruises. How many of us, when we start, put our mind into the body and find pain everywhere? Oh, my back. Oh, my shoulder. Oh, my hip. Oh, I didn't know my knee was hurting or whatever. Okay, same kind of issue, yeah. Meditation, all those pains that pop up all over the legs and all over the hips and all over the back, that aren't really there. If you actually sit there and pay pure attention, not intention, pure attention, all those discomfort goes away. And no one ever believes you. They say, oh, you must stretch your legs or something. And yes, while you are still carrying with you subconscious intention, you will need to stretch your legs to protect them so you don't injure yourself. But actually with pure attention, none of those things are there. It's just not. Okay, because they will change. And it defies logic, I know. I know it 100% defies logic, but every meditator has found it to be the case. And there's been quite a lot of meditators over the generations, right? It's an amazing thing that the mind can do. I fought the logic of that last one for a long time. For a long, long time. In my mind, I was like, no, don't be stupid. No, it's because I got a tight muscle. But then eventually, yeah, you will realize it's the case. What I was implying is essentially whatever the mind tries to do, it will get it wrong. It will get in the way. But this is the mechanism behind why that takes place. This is what Wu Wei is, non-governing. It's also why I'm against, on the whole, sometimes there's exceptions. There's exceptions. But it's also why I tend to be against visualization or imagination-based exercise very much. Like, they have their place sometimes. But it's largely because I know, the same as the people who formulated the alchemical traditions did, that there are various kinds of yao, of medicines that exist within the body or that can be produced within the body. I mean, that's alchemy, right? That's the basis of alchemy, that it's the production of something, the conversion of something from one state to another. Now, some of those medicines, shall we say, are quite deep. The Amrita fluid, that some traditions will talk about, or the jade fluid in Taoism, like an actual substance that is a mix of your fluids and sort of influence of the hormonal system upon fluid. You know, there's those kind of things that produce those kind of medicines, true. But there is a simpler medicine, and that simpler medicine is the body's intelligence to fix, maybe not like, you know, got hit by a dump truck yesterday and my arm's all off at a funny angle, that might take a bit of work, but a lot of the kind of internal conditions with regards to qi and deficiencies and discomforts. So maybe my liver doesn't function quite as well as it should, or maybe the kidneys are a bit deficient, or maybe my breathing's a bit tight, or maybe I just feel sad inside, or whatever, those kinds of things that I would consider kind of chronic qualities. The body has an ability to fix, the body has this amazing ability to fix these things if you can just apply your attention to them. But the attention must be attention. It must be attention, and that's what's so difficult, because of that subconscious and that unconscious intention that gets carried with it. So much of the exploration of the internal arts for years, for me anyway, because they kept shouting at me, just use your attention. I didn't know what they're on about. They just kept yelling at me. But so much, I'm a slow learner, but so much of the time is spent trying to discern the differences between the two. And this is what you're seeing all the time, when people go inside their body and then just get this discomfort, get this tightness, get this unpleasantness, yeah, or they can't get the body to produce what it needs to do because of that problem between these two things, the attention and the intention. Now remember, to the Taoists, Wu Wei, none governing, not none doing, yeah, doesn't mean be lazy. None governing was obviously a very, very important principle. Okay, and with regards to your internal work, on the level of your internal practice, this is primarily what they mean. They mean, what is the quality of your mind when it interacts with the body? To none govern, to simply listen. Yeah, and when it will simply listen, then energy is produced. Out it comes, boom, through the body. And that energy will auto-regulate and self-regulate to the best of its ability, whatever it can contact. Do you understand that? Does that make sense? People think you need the intention to stabilize, right? But you don't. The nature of attention is that it stabilizes. That is the nature of attention. That is the big joke. So, or I found it a big joke, because I know how many hours I wasted on this. So say, for example, I want to put my mind on the tip of my thumb, which would be a very useless meditation object to choose. But for now, I will choose the tip of my thumb. It's not going to help my process particularly, but that's what I'm using. If I want to keep the mind on the tip of the tongue, thumb, whatever, tip of the thumb, maybe I want to like laser-like focus, like I want to destroy my thumb or something like this, killer intent. Okay, something will stabilize in this area. That is true. My mind will stay here. But of course, intent becomes tired. That's the joke with intent. You can't sustain intent for very long. It's why if you do any sort of complex task, you just get wiped out after a while. I mean, that's what burnout is based on a lot of the time, right? Just trying to sustain that intent. So what will happen after time is it will just wander. And of course, the intent being here means that I don't get a very strong effect anyway, because I'm not listening. Okay, I'm using my intention. So when I step back with the strength of my intention, of course, what happens is my mind wanders. Then I lose sense of the thumb. I lose the sense of the thumb. I'm daydreaming. So people then struggle between these two. Focus, daydream, focus, daydream. And then the question is, what do I do? Do I move more towards focus? Or just keep going back past the daydream? That's the joke. Keep going back, not forward. It's the opposite of what you think. It's the opposite of what I thought for a long time. Go back, 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 back. And all of a sudden you'll stabilize back onto what you should have been stabilized on in the first place, because you'll realize that still the daydreaming is still within the realm of intention. Can you see that? Can you see why? It's still your mind. It's still the mind doing something. And the more I step back, the more I step back, the more I step back. If you find pure attention, the nature of attention is that it stays still. It stays still. It's like attention only needed an initial instruction, like this, kind of absent-minded. Focus on the thumb. That's it. Now I can just switch off, switch off, switch off, switch off, switch off, switch off, switch off. And I will not leave that point. It will stay. Essentially, if I have a very traditional meditation object like the dantian or the breath or the body, if I can just keep stepping back till I'm attentively stabilized into it, then it will flourish and then it will evolve in the way that it's supposed to do. And most of the internal alchemical traditions need that quality. Okay, then alchemy is not actually that hard once you can get that quality. It's what meditators in many traditions have been realizing or working towards realizing, depending on where they are in their practice, for a very, very long time. Yeah, and that's essentially what it comes to. You let go, you let go, you let go, you let go until you stabilize. Not focus, 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 focus until you stabilize. Okay?